Hello, everybody. Hello. So welcome to the final segment of our program today, the wrap-up. So this is just some quick notes from Michael and Rima. We'll conclude the conference with their final thoughts for today. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A button to send in your questions to the speakers. And with that quick little intro, I'd like to turn it over to Michael Valere.
Thanks, Diana. I sure appreciate that. And hello, everybody. Good morning, or in the case of those of our friends on the East Coast and other time zones, good afternoon, or maybe even good evening if you're coming in from Europe. My name is Michael Valere. I'm the president and CEO of the Institute for Healthcare Advancement. We are the ones who are bringing you this conference. And I just want to say one more time how much we really appreciate everybody being with us. This has been a remarkable week. And an opportunity for us to bring some outstanding speakers, some great information, have some very good dialogue, and just really touch on some really important issues that are facing us in our world today. This conference wrap-up, or also as Rima and I call this, the conference coda, is an opportunity for us just to sort of tie everything back together. So I'm going to introduce Rima in just a moment, but before I do that, it's really important for me to acknowledge the people who are behind the scenes and have really brought you this conference, and that's our IHA staff. Just very briefly, I just want to name everybody. Normally we do this live, and I ask everybody to stand up and come over to the side of the podium and be acknowledged. But obviously we can't do that now. So maybe just I'll introduce them virtually here. And if we could have a virtual round of applause at the end, we'd sure appreciate that. So Yoli Herrera, who's usually our registration queen, and she's the one who, when the sessions were going down, were shooting out those direct Zoom links like the best Vegas dealer I've ever seen. So thank you, Yoli. Nick Kaladas, our Chief Operating Officer. He's the one that really takes care of the business side and tries to keep me from bankrupting the organization, and usually does a pretty good job. Escarleth Juarez, who has taken care of all of our continuing education issues and answered all of your questions on that. Rachel Roberts and Dr. Marion Ryan, who you just heard from in our previous session, did an outstanding job of pulling together that conference solutions work group. I had kind of this harebrained idea about a month ago, and they actually took the seed of that idea and turned it into something quite wonderful. So thank you guys for doing that outstanding presentation, and also thanks, of course, to Joy and Lakeisha for your contribution to that last session as well. And finally, but last but certainly not least, two people who really, really deserve outstanding credit. Mario Malia, our IT director, who has really kept the wheels on the bus, along with Keith and Adrienne from Limitless ASR. Mario is our IT director, and I have to say, he just went above and beyond. We had to pivot pretty quickly to go virtual to bring you this conference, and he is the one who made sure that you actually had something to look at and the ability to kind of connect with us. And finally, the person you just heard from, Diana Gonzalez. For years and years, I was the one kind of pulling all the pieces together for this conference. I told her last year I was going to take a little bit more of a backseat and have her take the reins on this. And I have to say, any compliments that you have about the content, the speakers, just the entire experience, not the crashes, but the good experiences, those are really all due to Diana Gonzalez. So if we could have a virtual round of applause for all of our staff, I really appreciate everybody there. And it's really all of you guys that make this happen. So from my heart, thank you very much. We want to make sure that you guys have we're going to leave some good time for questions and answers at the end of this session. So if you click on the Q&A box and you have some questions overall or anything, please go ahead and put those in. And I have some comments that I'd like to share, but before I do so, I would like to bring on my co-host, my very, very good friend and colleague, Rima Rudd, Dr. Rima Rudd, who has been with us for years and years through thick and thin. And Rima and I have done this conference coda for years and years. And Rima, it's always a pleasure to have you share your insight, your thoughts, and your experience with everybody. So with that, I know you have a couple of things you'd like to share with the audience. So I'm gonna pipe down and turn it over to you. Rima Rudd, everybody.
Oh, great. Thank you, Michael. The summary today was absolutely wonderful, and I think the conference was as well. We've addressed so many issues this week. Among them, highlighting inequalities, structural racism, health disparities. It's important to note that all of these contribute to barriers to health literacy. And all of these have been exacerbated and come to the fore with COVID-19. Each speaker here highlighted the fact that we need to walk with, march, hand in hand with such a wide variety of organizations, agencies, movements. Many of them are not health related, but they all share our values and goals. Maybe I should just insert something here in the middle of that sentence. As a brief side note, I just want to point out that the conference, offered at no cost, listed several organizations during the registration that could very much benefit from our donations. We urge you to revisit that list and contribute what you can to any organization that you choose. I just want to also note that we're going to be counting out the value of these contributions as part of our conference evaluation because we're emphasizing partnerships. So I want to come back to that incomplete sentence and note that we can make a profound contribution to our partners by sharing our health literacy perspectives, our health literacy findings, our insights, and our skills. I mean, after all, health literacy highlights the value of respectful dialogue. It highlights the importance of access to information as well as access to care and services. We need conversations that to make information, data, problems, solutions, experience, issues, not just available, but accessible. We have the knowledge and skills to share with colleagues in a variety of places. Skills, tasks, activities that can help them accomplish their goals. Our shared goals related to equity, dignity, and knowledge. Our insights from health literacy practice for professional education, for restructuring care environments, for reducing demands of texts, as well as of tasks and activities that people have to undertake. Our scientific approach to communication, formative research, piloting, including how to incorporate the voice and perspective of community members, our assessment tools for measuring the suitability of communication. All of these efforts, including our ability to communicate facts and data, all of this can be of great service to our colleagues in a variety of places. We have to face these difficult times in strength with colleagues in order to overcome these outrageous assaults that so many are experiencing. These are difficult times, and standing together, sharing, communicating with each other, teaching each other our skills, helping each other move towards our goals is really the best thing that we can do in this, the worst of times. Michael. I'm sorry,
Thank you.
I wonder what comments you want to add to that.
Yes, thank you. Before I do that, I have a bit of a mea culpa. There was one staff member that I forgot. I have my list right here, and I actually ignored it and kind of went by my memory, which is not a real good pathway these days. But Beth Scott is our marketing manager and really did a great job in making sure that we got the word out about this conference, hope to kind of pique some interest. And hopefully her efforts were ones that really drew you to this conference. So Beth, thank you. And again, my apologies for leaving you off that initial list. I do want to circle back to a few of Rima's themes in a moment, but I want to address, there was an issue in the Q&A box that's very important. One of the really underlying purposes for the previous session, which was the solution work group, and our eliciting everybody's ideas and thoughts and comments during the week, was to make sure that we did not have this conference just be a one and done, one space in time event. I really am enamored of this idea that our learning is a journey, and that we are on one point in the continuum now, and that we continue this with continue the dialogue, continue the learning, the sharing, and the exploration. So as Diana and Rima mentioned, and Marion in the previous session, we have a website called the Health Literacy Solutions Center, which is at healthliteracysolutions.org. Again, healthliteracysolutions.org. After the conference, we are going to use that platform to create some discussion communities. We will provide some free webinars for you to continue to explore some of these issues. And the lightning talks, thank you, Mario, the webinars, and also, if you are signed up for the health literacy discussion list, which is moderated by our good friend Julie McKinney, that also provides an opportunity for you to post questions, post comments, and elicit responses from the rest of the community. We are also going to be hosting a conference in October, which is integrating the Health Literacy Annual Research Conference with the conference that Cynthia Bauer at the Horowitz Center for Health Literacy and IHA have done for the last couple of years, Health Literacy in Action. So it's going to be an integrated research, practice, and policy conference. And we will be we've put out some notices about that. We'll continue to do that. But we're going to take some of the issues and the comments and the requests that you have posted here in this conference and develop those during the intervening months and present those at the October conference. So it's very important for me to make sure that you understand that this is, we value and treasure your input and your continuing trajectory and learning and becoming experienced in all of these sorts of things. This is not just a one and done conversation, that we really do want to continue exploring these issues. So after that little detour, I just wanted to build a little bit on what Rima had said. You know, if anything, this conference has shown us that health literacy is so much more than just, you know, grade reading levels and no jargon and those sorts of things. It certainly is that, but it's so much more. We explored issues of health equity, looking at health disparities, issues around social justice, and how all of these things are so interrelated and tied in with one another. Sometimes they seem like very disparate issues, but they're not. They are so tied in with one another. You know, COVID-19, it's this sort of, you know, triumvirate of issues that has been visited upon us. COVID-19, this horrible pandemic, and so many ways in which that has affected people. We looked at a lot of those this week, you know, in terms of how this disease disproportionately affects many populations, how people do not have or are able to understand, have access to or understand information about prevention, transmission, and what to do. Seniors, we had quite a bit of information around there. Minorities, the brutalities that are being visited upon minorities, and the profiling, the polarity, the political, socio-political polarities that are being created, all of these issues, the loss of freedom, the economic hardships. We are in very tough and difficult times. And I believe that we as a health literacy community can come together and make a difference in how this pandemic and our current world socio-political, economic, and healthcare landscape, that we can really make this better for everyone. We understand how to do this, and we can do all of this together. But we really need to prepare ourselves. We need to, first of all, address our own implicit biases. We need to, as I said on Monday, we need to seek to understand first before we seek to be understood. And that kind of means putting ourselves in other people's shoes, really practicing empathy, and as Rima has suggested, dignity and respect. And as Joy Dupree used a word which I so appreciate and I think is such an undervalued word, approach this with a heart full of grace. And so we will continue the learning, we will continue the discussion, and I just want to say I so appreciate all of the speakers this week. I so appreciate everybody who has taken time out to be part of this discussion, to contribute, to listen, and to really take on this charge of saying, let's move forward and let's really use what we have learned to make the world a better place. And so I think, Rima, are there anything else before we kind of jump in? I want to make sure we have some time for questions and answers. It looks like we've got a few in there and Diana's going to take care of those for us. I did want to just follow up on one piece that Rima said about the donations. We did make this a free conference, and we did that because of, we understand many of you are facing a lot of economic hardships, and getting continuing education credits can be quite difficult. And so we thought, let's make it a free conference because we're in a position to be able to do that. We did ask everybody to make donations to any or all of the 6 charities listed there. I would, as Rima, I'd like to echo Rima, please revisit that page, take a look at some of those charities. These are people who are on the front line and really making a difference in COVID-19 relief and doing really important work in social justice. So all of the issues that we discussed this week, those 6 charities are out there doing that right now. And so if you consider what you would have paid for a conference like this and just carve out a small bit of that and go and make a donation, it will be a charitable deduction to the extent you're allowed to make that, and we will be sending you letters out. But there's the address, hlc.ihaforhealth.org. If you could go back and revisit that. If you made a donation, thank you. And if you could maybe throw a few more dollars in there if you decided not to make a donation. I hope you changed your mind a little bit this week and that you could go back and throw a few dollars at a few of those organizations. So enough on that right now. Rima, any further final thoughts before we turn it over for the Q?
I'd like to end and just offer a bit of a personal note. You know, because of my age and at the urging of my son and daughter-in-law and granddaughters, I wasn't out there marching, but I was walking along in all of the efforts these last months. In many ways, we in health literacy are among the first responders. We can act, we can take action, even me from my home quarters. We can offer people clear ways and clear paths to make information, data, training accessible to people. We can do really fine work and walk together with our partners. And I just celebrate those of us and those of you who have been doing that. Let's keep going, let's keep walking. This is a walk towards social justice, and we're making a contribution. And I think it's heartwarming and it's wonderful. So keep on doing your good work. We'll keep on doing what we can, and let's see if we can overcome these awful, awful events.
Thanks, Rima. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Diana now for some questions. Diana, take it away.
All righty. So some things that came in is, could you create a Facebook page or LinkedIn page and for health literacy discussion, or maybe for networking? Did you want to answer that, Michael, or did you want me to?
Yes. So whereas we do have a LinkedIn page, I would strongly suggest everybody consider just bookmarking on your device or your computer, healthliteracysolutions.org. We designed that platform exactly for this. We have discussion communities. We have places where everybody can get together and network and discuss issues. And as I said, in a couple of weeks after the conference, once we sift through a lot of those wonderful ideas. We'll be setting up some of those discussion communities and ways to continue exploring these issues. So again, healthliteracysolutions.org. Please visit there, please bookmark it, and we will in the coming weeks start getting some of those conversations going and active.
I would also, if I can pitch the lightning talks as well. So that, Mark, if you can go back a slide, please. The three presenters by Iris Feinberg, Janet O'Henny-Frimpong, and Michelle Erickson are coming soon. So those will be up. The thing that we're doing with those lightning talks is we're also connecting those to a discussion. So currently, there's a lightning talk from Teresa Wagner, and she presented a little bit about what she had talked about at the conference about community health workers. And so you can connect with Teresa there on that discussion list. And so we'll be doing that for every speaker so that you can just congregate around that one topic. So that way it kind of segments the population so you can talk about the things that are most important to you and the work that's most important to you. I would also like to add that if you're interested in doing a lightning talk, I would love to hear from you. If you want to just submit that to conference@ihaforhealth.org. That's an opportunity for us all to collaborate as well, for you to share your solutions. It's a lightning talk for 20 minutes, up to 20 minutes, just solutions-based talk. So that way we can get the solutions out there as quick as possible, because that's kind of what we need right now. The next question I have is kind of similar. Will conference attendees' information be shared if they choose to release this information so we can make additional connections?
I'm sorry, Diana, can you just repeat the question one more time, please?
Yeah, will conference attendees' information be shared if they choose to release this information so we can make additional connections?
You know, that's a great question, and there's actually two ways that this can happen. So in order for you to attend and register this conference, we asked you to sign up as a member of the Health Literacy Solutions Center. So if you go back to healthliteracysolutions.org and you look in your profile, there's an opportunity for you to fill out your profile as robustly as you deem appropriate for yourself. And I think then there is a directory on there where if everybody fills this out and says who they are and where they're at and what they do and what they're interested in, you have an excellent networking opportunity there. Also, under the engagements tab on the conference homepage, so on that homepage where you saw agenda, speakers, all of that, there's a tab. This is the tab where you went to take the surveys for each session that we just learned about in the previous session. There's also one called, I think, message board. Is that correct, Diana? And it's an opportunity if you want to just, it's like a little sticky note that you can post to say your name and your email address, and if there is a particular topic that you're interested in networking or collaborating on. So try those two solutions. We like to be a little careful about just releasing lists, because we know sometimes people copy those and send out commercial notices, so we try to protect those as much as possible. But if you use those two processes to connect, I think that'll work.
All right, this one is from our friend Janet O'Henny-Frimpong. She said, please share your best thinking on ways to get as many people as possible to vote safely and successfully in November so we will have the best chance to keep more people alive and well as we continue to move our way through this pandemic.
Rima, you want to jump in on that one? You're muted. There you go.
Janet, I just offer you my sincere appreciation and thanks for your superb presentation and your work on this issue. And I just support that. I support that. I want to take your slides and I want to give it to multiple organizations. Yes, I absolutely think that that's a magnificent and extraordinarily important suggestion. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and I echo Rima's comments. I think that, you know, this is one of, if not the most important things that we can really concentrate on. So I would say when you, within your own organizations, have a discussion and create some strategies as to how you can get the vote out. And it doesn't, you know, this does not need to be a partisan process. It just needs to be a civic-minded process. And as Janet said, this is an issue of civic literacy. and use the existing tools and networks and connections that you have to just add this onto the agenda for what you do in your daily work over the next couple of months. But get going soon, because as she noted, there are deadlines for registering, and you can't just show up on the day or expect to go to a website on the day and click a button and vote. It doesn't work that way. So you have to, there's preparations and there are steps. So I would say rewatch Janet's session, revisit her slide deck, share that slide deck, have those conversations, and make this be a priority for yourself personally and for your organizations professionally.
Thank you, Michael and Rima. Julie McKinney also had a point she would like to make to add to that. She said, volunteer with organizations to get out the vote, donate to organizations working to prevent voter suppression, and message to your audience the importance and how-tos of registering. All right, some other questions that are coming in are about CEUs and evaluations. So besides the plenary work, and I find the session evaluations for our CEs, the session evaluations are all located on the page, on each session page under contents. So if you're looking for the session evaluations, that's where you can find it, again, under contents tab under each session page. The overall evaluation for the conference and the CEU form will be emailed to you. So be on the lookout for that. That was another question that came in.
And Diana, if I can just add on to that one of the other things, we trust you'll give us your impressions of the conference, the speakers, the content. We're also interested in hearing from you about the platform itself, understanding that there were some technical issues, and I would like to give the conference platform the benefit of the doubt that these were things that were outside of their control. I know the couple of crashes that we had were rather unfortunate. But just in terms of the ease of using this, did you like it? Was it something that you would consider using again at a future conference? So any thoughts you want to share on that would be helpful for us as well.
Yes, people are chiming in, just saying they're really grateful for the conference. And someone even said the few technical problems are really not much of a problem. I thank you for that, Hilda. Someone asked, are there any organizations doing virtual volunteering that you guys know
of? Gee, I don't know. I'm sorry. But I think that's a great question to pose to the discussion list. And Julie McKinney, I know you're listening. Perhaps that's one you could put out there. And that's the power of the list, is that we have over 5,000 people as part of this community. And we can put a question out there, and we can, crowdsource and leverage the wisdom of the group. So Rima, are you aware of any virtual volunteer organization?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. But
no,
I just want to say that I've taken what may be audacious action. So, for example, there are candidates that I really am eager to support. I am writing to their staff to say things like, this word is not generally understood by many people in our country. Here's an explanation that you can offer. So I'm offering some small services here and there to a number of organizations, to a number of candidates. I'm butting in. I'm butting in, not with criticisms, mind you, but with some helpful hints and helpful phrases. So I'm not minding my business. So in that sense, I've been actively volunteering.
I think the current term now is leaning in. And so, but I like butting in, because that's more of what we used to say. So, but yes, no, that's an outstanding suggestion. I mean, there's a perfect example of using the power of who we are and what we know to effect change. Yes, perfect. So talk to your candidates, create those relationships. And that might be just your initial opening salvo to create that relationship, and to say, here's a little piece you can use right now, but in the future, I would love to be able to talk to you about how well you are resonating and connecting with the people. Are you appealing to everybody who are your constituents? Are you aware of who they are and what their capabilities are, and are you being mindful of how you communicate with them? So that's a great opportunity to establish that relationship.
Right, and that could be done with relating to water services. It can relate to domestic violence. Again, a little note with helpful changes without criticism is very often welcomed.
Some other comments: reclaim our vote. Does virtual trainings on voting for postcard writing and phone canvassing. I provided a link earlier for Janet's talk. Let's see what there was other volunteer one. Oh, I lost it. Yes, that was just another comment. People are just sending in their love about volunteering. Let's see. The content will be available. The sessions that were, unfortunately, we had to cut off because of the technical difficulties are found on the hlc.iha for health page. And then the remaining sessions, we're going to package those up for you and make those available. So at this point in time, we're not planning on taking anything down as much as adding more to the content. If we do move it, I think that's our intention, to move it to this Health Literacy Solution Center. And when we do that, we'll just make sure that we link it so that everyone can follow where the content is. A question came in from Anne-Marie Leibel. Is anyone aware if there's an organization who's taking the lead on contact tracing education? I know many people are doing it, but is anyone trying to manage, direct, provide guidance?
This is thank you for that question. This is actually we have been having some discussions around this, and there is this I think is going to be the next big major initiative, the next big tool that we have in our COVID toolbox. I don't like using the word weapon, but I think it's the next tool that we have to try and really get a hold of this pandemic and really reduce it down. So we are having some discussions with a few folks. Some of you may know Don Rubin at the University of, and I'm sorry, in Atlanta. I'm sorry, Don, I don't know your exact affiliation, but we have had some conversations with Don. Don may be on the line right now. Also, there's a lot of organizations that are doing some training. Johns Hopkins has a training. UC San Francisco has a training. I think where the health literacy community can really have an effect is to look at some of those trainings and ensure that the components that address how we have those conversations on the phone while that contact tracing is happening, that we are mindful of all of our best practices of how to communicate clearly, respectfully, and maintain dignity in that conversation. And I'm stealing directly from my friend here, Rima Rudd, that those conversations are ones that are mindful of the person with whom we're speaking, that we have a goal and objective of finding out who they have had contact with, but that we do that in a dignified, respectful manner. And so we will be posting some ideas, some thoughts, and we may just open that up to really leverage the wisdom of the community. And so if you know of people who have contacts very high up in the administration, at CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services, and any of those ones who would be willing to work with our health literacy community on that, please share those. And we are going to put some of this out shortly and open up this discussion to the community. Rima, anything to add to that?
No.
Oh, thank you. Diana? How are we doing are we okay on time?
I think we're at 10:30. We're going to what, 10:15? I think we're over, actually.
I don't think we're bumping into the next session. So I think we're, as long as if we still have a few hardy souls hanging in there with us, it looks like we do. So
yeah,
I'll
the comments, Yeah, the comments will slow down. I just wanted to make sure we get to the CEUs. I know those are really important for people.
Go ahead.
Someone did have a question about, if they watch the recording and then there's no session evaluation on there, so how do they make sure that it shows completed? How that works is we're going to send out that overall, the most important part is the overall conference evaluation. So again, you'll get that in your email. And then at the end of that survey, there'll be that CEU request form. You click on that link, and there is where you're going to tell us which session you attended and whether it was recorded or it was live, because there's some providers, CME is not allowing credit for recordings, and neither is the National Association for Social Workers. So just submit your CEU request form to us. We will calculate your hours and send that back to you. So if you watch the recordings and there isn't a session evaluation, don't worry about it. You can always fill out the one that's located on the platform if you want to send in your thoughts about those. And we've got another one. All the handouts will still be on the conference platform if you would like to check those out later. Let's see. People really liked the platform and they found that it was easy to use. So thank you for that feedback. And it says, great idea, Michael. Did the Johns Hopkins training and it was excellent. But health literacy expertise is needed throughout COVID communication.
Absolutely. So yes, we will have that discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all the questions that were coming in. So.
Rima, anything you'd like to say before we close everything out?
Let's keep walking.
Excellent. I just want to say again, thank you to Diana, to Mario, to Rima, to our staff, and especially thank you to all of you. We so appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything that you do. You are awesome, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of one another. Bye-bye.